Hey grade 10s, Mrs. Rivait here. So today we're going to talk about some of the tissue types and the four major tissue types that are found in animal organisms. And then we're also going to take a look at how the cells and tissues of animal bodies are organized. Okay, so remember when we talked about specialized cells, we said that even though all of the cells of our body actually contain the same genetic information, the same DNA, all the cells of our body are not alike. They have become specialized. They have different functions and they have different features. So groups of cells that work together to perform a similar function, we call those tissues. So in animals, there are four major types of tissues. They are connective tissue, epithelial tissue, muscle tissue, and nervous tissue. So let's talk about epithelial tissue. Epithelial tissue is made up of epithelial cells. So it's cells that are very tightly packed together, and their function is to mainly form a protective barrier. So your skin is made up of a bunch of different types of epithelial tissue. It also lines the outer surface of body cavities. It lines like your digestive tract, for example, and organs that are inside of the body. Another type of tissue is connective tissue, and it does exactly what its name suggests. It's joining tissues together, it's protecting tissues, supporting structures, and it includes things like tendons and ligaments, so joining muscles and bones. Bones are also considered to be made up of connective tissue. Cartilage, your blood, fat, all of that is considered connective tissue. Muscle tissue includes all muscle types. So you have a couple of different, you have three different types of muscle tissue in the body, and all muscle tissue is specialized for contracting and relaxing. You have muscle tissue that you can control voluntarily, like skeletal muscle tissue, and that's what helps you move and walk around. But you also have other types of muscle tissue that you cannot control. So your involuntary muscles are called smooth muscles, and those help your organs move. So for example, the lining of your intestine or your esophagus has smooth muscle in it to help to push food along your digestive tract. The third type of muscle tissue is cardiac muscle tissue, and this is to beat your heart. So all of these different types of muscle tissue contract and relax to do their jobs. The last type of tissue is nervous tissue, and so nervous tissue is made up of nerve cells, but also other different types of cells called glial cells. And all of this nerve tissue is specialized. Its job is to respond to stimuli and send electrical signals through the body. So it's taking in that information from outside of the body. So any kind of stimuli, visual, oral, touch, smell, all of that, and it's sending those signals to the brain, and the brain cells are interpreting it and sending a response. Okay, so now we're going to talk about how all of these cells and tissues get organized inside the body. And we're going to talk about a hierarchy. So this is basically an organizational structure. It's got complex or important things at the top, and as you kind of go down, we're getting simpler and simpler. So the levels of organization for an animal body are at the top. The most complex is the whole organism. And then we have organ systems, organs, tissues, and cells, which is the simplest of all. Okay, so just a couple details about each of those levels of organization. At the cellular level, this is the simplest, the lowest level of organization, right? It's that fundamental unit of a living thing. And then we group some different cells together. They're usually similar to each other, but they may be slightly different So groups of those similar cells that are performing a particular function. It is a limited function, so it's not super complex. We call those tissues. And then at the next level is the organ level. And this is a structure that's made up of a few different tissue types, and they are working together to perform a complex body function. So for example, your heart is made up of nerve tissue, muscle tissue, things like that, connective tissue, and they all work together to pump the blood through your body. Then we have the organ system level, and at the organ system level, we have several organs and structures working together to perform a vital body function. So for example, your digestive system, your circulatory system, your nervous system. And then at the most complex level is the whole organism. So it's all of the organ systems working together to keep that whole organism alive. So I'll just take you through kind of one example going through all those levels of organization. So at the cellular level here, we have some heart muscle cell, and they are working together. Then we have at the tissue level, heart muscle tissue. So we have muscle cells grouped together. At the organ level here, we have the heart. At the organ system level, the heart is a part of the circulatory system. So the heart, the blood, and all the blood vessels working together to pump blood all through the body. And then at the whole organism level, we have the whole human body. So all of the organ systems working together to keep that person alive. So thanks for listening, grade 10s. I'll talk to you soon.